Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, where, slowly but surely, I am killing every single person aboard this ship. Is there anything else for us to do before we leave here? Apparently I did not loot these bodies. Hooray, a bunch of knives. Let's take them. Also, I feel like it could just count. When I loot somebody from an encounter, it should loot all the people. I shouldn't have to click on so many different things. Alright, anyway, this thing is now pointed this way. And did we look at this already? We did. Okay, just kind of generally down here somewhere. Again, there's not really all that many places to go. We're not going to get lost or off the trail because of the ultimately pretty linear design of these areas. There's little off ramps here and there, but they just go to tiny little branches with a bit of quote unquote treasure at the end. What's going on in this part? Lord Captain, this is where the sick and broken are herded to die of their various diseases. Don't touch anything. Could you not put that directly over top of the box that I was trying to read? Shut up! The stench of decaying bodies creeps into your throat and lungs, forming a sticky film lining your airways. Cool. We should maybe not spend a ton of time here. It would be great if the funicular worked. Can we get over to this? Uh-oh. Stop being so bloody difficult. What's that thing the death cultists say? Your time has come, or what have you? Yeah, you couldn't remember your time has come, really? No, please, what did I do? Talk about being everywhere at once. How about we take his stuff to the marketplace? We'll get to eat soup tonight. Fortunately, everybody else down here is also engaged in killing everyone on the ship. So my goal to completely empty the place, it approaches rapidly.
Over.
Okay, well that was repaired. That got done very quickly. What are these goods that are not in anybody's house? Sure, just more cargo for my ship that belongs in my ship and was already in my ship and was cargo. The mold is dotted with glandular tendrils that ooze slime. Sick people who are still alive but can no longer walk are the mold's favorite choice of host to grow on and suck the last of life's juices from. That's cool. That's great. It's good to be down here. Let's keep moving.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
Oh, did we notice a trap, maybe? Or... oh, indeed there is a trap. Alright, everybody get over here.
We need to investigate.
Just get over here. So there are 3 traps laid out in front of whatever this goods thing is. Fortunately, Argenta is good enough at traps to be able to guaranteed disarm these.
Duty prevails.
Feels like
the Emperor favors me today.
kind of a waste of time from a game design perspective
Better myself.
to put down 3 traps that are openable by a character that you're guaranteed to have for free.
The whispers told me how.
And then for some reason we're able to use tech use to open this briefcase. Find in it a Martyr Bone Charm. If worn by a Death Cult assassin, when the wearer gains a stack of Blood Blessed, they also gain plus 10 toughness for 2 rounds. That's pretty rad. Oh, why would you put that in cargo? Crimson Intoxicants lose all their temporary wounds and increase their melee damage by the same amount for 1 round. Interesting. And some gloves. If worn by a Death Cult assassin, whenever the wearer kills an enemy, that enemy explodes in a fountain of blood. Pretty rad.
What torments you?
Yeah, here. How about this gear that's obviously made expressly for you to put it on? What did I have on you before? When the wearer deals damage, the weapon skill and ballistic skill Okay, the target's weapon skill and ballistic skill are reduced. Honestly, this is probably not even that meaningful on her because, like, I get the idea, what I was going for there, right? She does damage to a lot of people, so it'll spread the debuff, but also the killing. Also, everybody ends up dead when they get hit, so who cares? Alright,
The web
I mean, I
beckons.
guess we're just gonna kind of walk everywhere. Oh, sorry, everybody. Everybody's just gonna kind of walk everywhere. And here's Zdena the Outcast. Uh-oh, I got a new quest because I have a rash. A strange rash appeared on your skin after you ventured into the ship's transportation tunnels. Most likely another trophy you have claimed from that unpleasant place.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Hi. A figure in decaying tatters is rocking to and fro, muttering indistinctly in several different voices, occasionally breaking into hoarse laughter. As you come closer, she freezes and turns slowly to look at you. An ugly, rusted mask covers her face. Are you here to take Zdena to the other side? No. No. You're just wandering around in the dark, looking for the light, but it's nowhere to be found. Do you really not see it? Hey, there's a blood symbol next to you. Is this another part of the Song of Trailing Blood? Zdena bursts into hysterical laughter. Oh yes, the song. Here, listen. The woman starts chanting hurriedly. She wandered an eternity in dark, yet was consoled, web foretold, undying one's blood secrets glowed, a light to guide her faithful fold. But threads must end, and so the spider did that which was owed, her life and death to ship bestowed. She laughs again. And you'll see if you learn to see. Look into the darkness. Look. Alright, I'll peer into the darkness, but I cannot fathom what I am meant to see here. You peer into the darkness and are gradually able to make out the outlines of objects hidden in the shadows. What darkness are we talking about? It's very well lit around here. Rotting corpses, rough walls, the twitching death throes of infected people left here to die. You see no light in this place, only more darkness and despair. You don't see, do you? You don't see! Zdena shakes her head frantically and starts tearing off her rags. Strips of her decaying flesh peel off along with them. You will not see until you become like Zdena, the flesh and blood of this ship. And how do I become the flagship's blood? Oh, Zdena will show you, and you will see the true light. Come now. Leave your mark on life in this bay. Okay, you just jumped down between the fan blades and did not get murked. I will be right with you. Hold on, is there a sick person over here we can actually help?
I do what I must.
This man is suffering from a severe but curable disease. One vial of medicine administered in the early stages would have saved him. Would have, okay. No one finds the courage to approach the bodies of these outcasts, their rotting flesh and cartilage bearing the marks of void disease. Well, I mean, it's probably not so much the courage as it is the
claim to the stars.
utility, right? Like, there are so many completely non-meaningful garbage interactions that it does kind of like wear you down over time. It's just like, I'm only clicking on things that I know are going to have some effect at this point. Because holy hell, it takes forever to do everything in this game. Alright, I suppose we should level up before we drop down. So this level is a talent and a skill for me. Officer ability range is increased. You know, we are seeing a number of occasions where I just can't quite get my shout onto somebody. And now that we have, you know, an ability distributing action points and ability distributing movement points and stuff, more and more I'm thinking commanding voice is actually going to be important. You know what, let's just go ahead and take it. I feel like I'm always just a little out of range. And then our commerce skill is super high. Probably doesn't need to be higher. So I think I'm actually going to take Carouse. It's not one of our most important skills, but our most important skills are really highly ranked already. And Carouse is not. And I would like it to be higher. I would like to think that this character is definitely one who can go out and drink with the men and you know, win over a crew in that way. She has to have made her friends somehow. All right, a skill for you. I mean, your athletics rank is already... Well, it's only 60, huh? It's been good enough to pass everything so far, but I wonder if 60 is... We might actually want to give that some gas. Oh, I'm not allowed to take a boost to athletics because we already have one, I guess? Well, in that case... Does increase... Yeah, Medicate increases the number of wounds improved when you heal somebody. That's probably worth having. And then... Desolation is, like, fine. 13% critical hit chance. Whenever the warrior is attacked, they gain 1 stack of Epicenter of Slaughter. At the start of their turn, they get +1 temporary wound for each stack. I mean, that would add up over time, right? Not the number of stacks, obviously, but the amount of total health that has saved you. Warrior gains +5 damage deflection against the first attack made by every enemy. That's even more good reason to have him, like, run out in front of everybody. Just charge someone and then draw all of the enemy shots. Area attacks deal bonus damage for each enemy in the area. What about disarm? Use a single shot attack or melee attack against a target. And gain 15% armor against attacks made by that target. Okay. So it's not disarm. Whenever the warrior is hit while under the endure effect, their damage deflection is increased by +1. But only until the beginning of the warrior's next turn. That's pretty... Seems like it'd be hard to take advantage of. This, on the other hand, seems quite easy to take advantage of. And 9 is kind of a lot of damage for such an increase. I actually think I really like that charge thing. Yeah, let's just go ahead and take that. A mighty and powerful charge. Alright, so some talents to be had here. 14% more damage to targets who aren't wounded yet. Exposed weakness being free would do some things. We are at the point now where we are reliably spending a very large amount of our total party action points per round. So starting to accumulate savings. Like we're starting to get to the place where that matters. When the operative triggers an exploit on an enemy, the operative gains plus damage and armor penetration until the end of combat. That's cool. So they build up a small, slow stacking bonus. It's probably too slow, though. Attack a target afflicted by an exploit from a distance of 11 cells or further to get 15% damage. Actually pretty cool. Wow, what is your perception? So, like, when you get things like this, they should say on them what your perception bonus is currently. 10 feels high, right? Am I wrong about that? Oh my god. Everything's got to be annoying. It should probably lock in your choices like when you leave the person's personal interface rather than tabbing between the things in the interface. That's fine. I'm not closing the interface, but that's fine. So yeah, like a bonus of 10 would mean the thing has to be at 100, right? Yeah, perception 100 or higher, which seems very significant. Where's your perception denote? Oh, right here. Okay. Whenever the operative hits an enemy that is affected by both an exploit and exposed weakness, they lose a bunch of movement points, but not action points, sadly. Operatives' allies gain plus 2% hit chance and critical hit chance. What is the scalar on that? Your intelligence bonus? I mean, extra hit chance is always going to be really powerful. And I'm sure we're going to be scaling our intelligence up considerably over the course of the run. Alright, what else? Allies under the power effect of at least one psychic power get armor penetration. Every 9th successful parry. Predicted downfall is not terrible. The first dodge attempt of every enemy in combat suffers a minus 14% penalty. For something that you don't have to do anything at all to take advantage of, that's really nice. And I do definitely prize simple, totally passive effects quite a lot for that reason. Obviously, it's good to just get good at the game, but reducing your mental overhead is an important part of getting good at a strategic game. Every time the Psyker deals mental damage from any source other than Aftershock, the target suffers half that much again at the end of their next turn. I mean, against most enemies, this is not going to matter. But I do think it's pretty good, actually. And I think it'll be great against, like, bosses and stuff. Alright, soldier gets a skill and a talent. For each adjacent ally, the soldier deals 10% more damage. That seems pretty strong. Deal damage to increase your critical damage, but not your critical hit chance, critically. After the soldier deals damage to 3 different enemies, 20% more damage for your next attack in the current combat. I mean, that's not horrible. Obviously, we're going to be able to get that off of cone fire and stuff. But it is a bummer that it only affects one... The damage bonus only affects one attack. Reloading is cheap and fast. It hasn't really seemed to be a problem to us so far. Alacrity is really interesting too. You know what? Let's take it. And then skill-wise, obviously your demolition is very high and very powerful. Maybe we just get you awareness. Awareness is kind of just like generically good on everybody. Then again, so's Medicae. Oh, they've even made leveling up into like quite an ordeal. It's like, what is the optimal thing to pick from these 12 consecutive menus? All right. There's probably some pretty good Psyker stuff available here. Enemies damaged by the navigator suffer additional damage from any warp source. Every even turn, you get an additional action point. Every odd turn, you get 20 perception. I don't think those are super compelling. Whenever an ally in combat gets an extra turn, the navigator gets a stacking +5 willpower until the end of combat, up to 5 stacks. That's interesting because we could build that up pretty quickly. But in the end, it would still only be 25 willpower. We can probably just get that much from grabbing something else. Enemies attacked by the navigator's powers suffer a -10 penalty to the next resistance test. Oh, specifically from the what do you call it? The navigator. That's less exciting. Enemies moved by navigator powers suffer 4 damage per movement. I don't think we have a lot of those. Yeah, maybe we want to, with 2 casters in the party, maybe it makes sense to take stable roots. It's perhaps an abundance of caution. I don't need you doing commerce or persuasion. I've got that stuff under control. You have an unusually high awareness. All right, and then you... Athletics would not be terrible. Awareness is always just kind of good. Yeah, I think I'll take awareness. Followed by... Anytime a Voidborn character scores a critical hit, there's a 10% chance to double the damage. A crit, if you will. A little bit of death insurance, or at least potential death insurance, is kind of something. Open the veins is interesting. Especially since we do have that pistol that can apply burn, but most things just won't survive taking a hit, which does make it a little bit less easy to gather gold. Death Cult Assassin allies deal more damage to enemies if both the ally and their target stand in the blood. A lot of our characters obviously are not going to want to stand in the blood. We have a fair ranged core at this point. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with you. Your skills related to your actual character abilities are just not very impressive. Or at least they don't appear very impressive to me. I'm sure I'm wrong about some of this stuff. I mean, Crimson Tide might be okay. Dance of Blood at least will affect Abelard. Probably. So he'll be in there wailing away in the blood. I don't hate being able to stack up Bloodstained even more with like the Inferno pistol. But like part of my concern with this is we're talking about a pretty poor set of health pools relative to the amount of damage that attacks deal. It's just like things that are like incremental like this, it feels like they're really hard to take advantage of because everything dies so fast. You know? I guess I'm going to take just a flesh wound. It's pretty marginal, but like I think everything we had a choice of there is pretty marginal. And if just a flesh wound keeps Kibella from going down at a critical moment in combat, I think that's well worth it. The problem is that we can't guarantee that it ever actually will do that. Alright, I did pick up a pearl, or a thing here. There was a quest to get rid of the rash. Here we go. The Lord Captain spent too much time in the pestilence pit by the Void Ship's freight line, and now her skin is covered in inflamed blisters. There must be someone on board who knows how to purge the rogue trader's body of this affliction. Yeah, I have a personal medical staff, right? Right by the giant tub. Alright, we're totally going to jump down in just a second here. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. Just stuff. Okay, yeah, so we're jumping through the big fan, right? Here's the thing, like, as slowly as this is spinning, we saw somebody get killed by getting kicked into it, and I guess the thing that happened to them actually was just they fell 20 feet onto some hard metal, and it's a bad thing for your body to do, because like this fan is not a danger to anyone, and we're just gonna jump in between the blades. It's easy. The rotating blades promise nothing but a senseless and brutal death. Just slipping past them would require some unreasonably precise calculation. Are you fucking joking? You have to actually animate the thing moving at that speed if you want it right. Okay. While listening to the air currents for a moment, you think you hear Zedena's whispered prayer rising from the depths of the shaft. So first of all, we just watched her do it. It was very straightforward. Secondly, you could think this. Again, they chose to describe it one way, but then depict it visually a fully different way, and that is bad work. I do love it that we can just jump. Actually, no, it's really easy. We just jump. It's also kind of funny that someone might call upon the ruinous powers for something like this. Just like, my drink is over across the room, but I already sat down. I better dial up Papa Nurgle. I'm gonna need some help with this one. Yeah, fucking let's just do it. It's like very easy. You just go when the thing's about to be there. You jump when the thing is on the way to the place. Nope, that was wrong. I definitely just wanged my face on the side of that fan blade. I'm sure she'll be fine. It's a very strong face. Oh, I'm down here alone though. That's a little concerning. I'm down here alone, but I'm no longer disgusted, but I do still have that rash. And that rash is mechanically like quite significant. Hey there, buddy. How's it going down here? The death cultist bows his head reverently. Well, I suppose that's nice of him. Can I run across this? No, okay.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Yeah, that gap is a little bit bigger when you look at it from a different angle. This area is very fucking cool, though. Now, my personal athletic skill is a little bit lower. I think they probably shouldn't have let me use my party's athletics for that fan jump if it wasn't the whole party making the jump. I suspect that they did. I didn't actually look at the roll. I guess, can we see the roll? No, we cannot. Okay. But my guess from the fact that it was a 100% is that they did let us use the party's roll, and that's probably inappropriate considering. Now that I'm down here, I'm not going to be able to perform any such task. I assume nobody else is going to talk to me. What would have been the point of jumping over to here anyway? I can just walk around. Oh no, okay, she won't walk over the place where she can obviously walk around. That's pretty strange. I'm assuming that if I attempted this jump and failed it, it would be very, like... I'm actually really curious. We're gonna save here. And then I'm gonna do this because I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do here mechanically. What they should do is, if you attempt this jump and fail, you die, right? Like, it's obviously, that's a lethal fall. But mechanically, I don't feel like they have the chutzpah. So we're just gonna...
Done.
Also, you gotta animate it. Like, what? Done. So... Yep, it was a difficulty 20 with my athletic skill of 30, meaning roll under, and then a base of -5. So I just had to roll under a 45, and I rolled a 12, and now we're good. Do I have to roll it again to get back? I think so. There are large holes in the compartment's ceiling. The spinners have dismantled the bulkheads to expand their temple ever higher. And what have we found here? Just shit. Just like... I'm really curious when the cargo stuff starts to matter. You know, selling full cargo to merchants improves your reputation with their faction. However, all loot inside that cargo will be lost. Okay, so drag pieces of loot to remove it from your loot screen. It will be packed into a suitable cargo space. You may withdraw loot from cargo at any time. But like most of these things are just garbage, right? But they're just like flavored garbage. We have a bunch of different packages. We have a bunch of different places that we can put our flavored garbage into. It sorts it for us. Like, how much is this actually going to matter to me eventually, you know? Like, I picked up 5 different things there, and it may as well have just said, you got stuff. And they bothered to do all the art for that, but then they couldn't animate me jumping. No, it looks like you do in fact
stand in my way.
just have to hit the check again, or is it they give you the go back for free? If you made it the first time, you can make it again. All right, that's bizarre. That's a weird implementation. What about this? Everything here is mine. The cult doesn't mind if I help myself. Corpse starch and void sweat ale and cloth dyes and once again, it's real strange that any of it has to be claimed by me to put in the cargo hold because it's cargo that's in my it's literally already my cargo. That's what you call the stuff that's on the ship. Tangles of improvised bridges constructed from beams and flooring stretch ever higher, not unlike a web. It's not that much unlike a web. The temple is growing, as if it were a living organism. The people who wrote this bit are not super familiar with spiders in the real world, I guess. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Spiders probably build webs differently in different places.
A new challenge for me?
Aha! Look at that. Look at all my awareness doing work. Even with this terrible rash. I do like that noise as an indicator. We found low-capacity fuel tanks and also some more ale. There's so many different cargo containers that carry the same thing. We had several. When I clicked on the cargo earlier, there were several, I assume, different holds that are dedicated to carrying the same stuff, and it's just like, it seems like they really they put some effort into drawing that system out, and I'm really curious to what degree it's going to matter mechanically. Also, here we have a bunch of death cultists just kind of watching a bunch of other death cultists do their kata.
I won't tolerate weakness.
And meanwhile, my character's just like running through the place shouting. Huh. I wonder if I can move these plates. Let's flip a coin.
I did fine.
Well, it turns out I did fine. the way the character vocalizes the results might be the funniest thing. All right, so we got ourselves a Bloody Pact. This knife grants its wielder a special ability called Crimson Rage. That I need to hold shift. Wait, how do I get the tooltip to stay? I guess I gotta loot it first. Or, okay, hit info. The wielder can suffer damage equal to 25% of their maximum wounds to regain 1 AP. It can be used multiple times per turn as long as the wielder has at least 50% wounds. That's interesting. I suppose there are situations where that's really powerful. And then a Spinner's Blade and some more Crimson Intoxicants. Okay. Yeah, there has been a tremendous amount of work done here into things that bear the Imperial aesthetic. And, like, again, imagine if all this work had been done for, like, some Tau or something, is all. Because boy, oh boy, do we ever have enough of this shit already. Not that it's not, you know, within my aesthetic and, like, I'm not saying that it's not cool, but boy, oh boy. Hey, everybody, how's it going? How'd y'all get down here so fast? Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to just finish looting the place. Just kind of run around everywhere real quick to see if things pop out at me. Yep, and see, by rewarding this behavior, they have ensured that I will continue to do it. A crimson torrent flows from the statue's hands, a symbol of the countless deaths offered up in his name. Underneath the ancient relic is a stone plaque with an inscription carved in elegant cursive. If you value life above duty, you are not worthy of life. Vizier Geoffrenis. Weirdly, this is the only dialogue box that doesn't close while I'm trying to read it in the entire game. Whenever the wearer makes a melee attack, they regain 1 wound. That's... seems like that should be very good on Kibela. 5 generations of spinners have guarded this relic so that it may serve the worthiest of the Domini. Its time has come. I agree with you.
None shall stand in my way.
Hey everybody, it's me, the worthiest or whatever. I can attempt a medical... What am I... One thing that I don't love about this system is, like, I can't tell what that's even a check about. It's just it's like a little metal spike surrounded by some fires. It's like... A way that this profoundly fails to feel like a tabletop RPG is that it really, really, really makes it clear that you are just pushing buttons. I'm not trying to do things and being allowed to interface into them by the system. I'm just pressing buttons because they're presented to me with no description or idea of what those buttons might do, and then finding out what my intent was after the fact. It's not good. Part of the cultist service to the Undying One involves turning the corpses of the departed into sacred altars for their blood-anointed congregation to pray at. Yep, that's what's going on up here. So I'm going to click this. I'm very curious what it is. The smoke tickles your nostrils, making you slightly dizzy. Such substances are known to induce visions or hallucinations. Okay, I got 8 XP for successfully breathing in, which was a roll that took that I had a chance of failing. Okay. The Vizier of the Bloodspun Web. A frail old man, gray beard tinged with blood, folds his wrinkled hands in a ritual gesture. His body is covered in scars, some old, some fresh. His eyes are sewn tightly shut. His mouth is cleft at both corners, making his jaw seem eerily snake-like. Another thing that I do think is a little bit of a problem is that we are getting so much of this stuff, and especially because you are so front-loaded with like being on the ship and seeing Imperial thing after Imperial thing after Imperial thing happen, that at a certain point this all kind of fades into like it fades into like a mush. It's just like, and then a thing that's totally extreme and dark is true, and there's like blood or whatever, and a guy's sewn up, and then it was holy, and it's just like, come on, can we fucking... This stuff, it loses its impact when it doesn't have any counterpoint. They need to do a better job of like interleaving other things. And the Lady of the Ark walks the paths of unlife in the footsteps of the web's very first spinner. And the servants of death bowed before her, for the Domin is the giver of life. The old man goes still, his head turned to the side. He nods toward the temple's muffled silence. Yes, yes, truth like a stream pours from your lips. We welcome her, as the tenets demand. Your hues are almost as pale as the gray of your beard. But what is this? Cassia flinches and takes a shuddering breath. A scarlet whirlwind shines through the faded colors. A servant of death who sees beyond the threshold. A spider who spins a cocoon at the end of his thread. Idira shakes her head and clutches her temples. Sorry about that. It just came over me. I didn't say anything too weird, did I? A thin blade appears in the old man's trembling hands. Although his arms are stiff and look like they can barely bend, in the next instant, the dynasty's symbol is etched on his forehead, dripping blood. With a brief motion, he flicks the blood off his blade, and several drops land on your face. Fucking not cool, biohazard. The blood-spun web welcomes its new lady. I am the Vizier. For many years we have waited, and now you are here. We have waited. Whispers echo his words from the shadows. Again, no shadows. Everything's extremely well lit. Okay, so... Vizier. Vizier? Is that some sort of title? Alright, y'all, you know, I don't think that this is supposed to be funny. But I do appreciate the interjection of some levity, regardless of whether or not it's on purpose. Alright, so you just walked my companions in here the normal way while I was forced to make that jump. How did you manage to erect an entire temple in the middle of the ship without anyone noticing? The ship's the size of a fucking city. This is really not that impressive. I am sure this is not the only one of these. I expected greater respect from someone who so eagerly anticipated a meeting with the rogue trader. Or do we just want to get right down to business? I am already kind of bored of this dude's whole shtick. And not that I don't, I don't want to seem unreverent or whatever, but I'm the one we're supposed to be reverent to, so. I'm a little leery, like, for many years we have waited and now you are here. I'm a little concerned that he might drop some prophecy bullshit on me. And I don't know if I could take that in my current state. I am kind of curious about this part. You made me jump through the thing, but there was another way in. The spinners guided them along a different trail. You had to take the step, for only you were meant to become the flagship's blood, Dobin. There was no reason to test the faith of those who follow you, for this burden was for their lady to bear. What burden? What are you talking about? Alright, I walked the path of the matriarch spider. What now? The Song of Trailing Blood tells of a path fraught with trials. By accepting it and setting out on that path, you passed the first one, the trial of resolve. For not everyone is prepared to shun their fear and doubt and embark on a search for the unknown. A search for death. The trial of compassion was the second one. You passed it when you put yourself, albeit briefly, in the service of another soul, a man suffering from burns. For the choice between life and death is to be made only by those willing to take responsibility for the pain of another. The third was the trial of justice. In assuming the role of judge for an apostate of our faith, you declared your right to influence the balance of life and death that the errant soul had upset. And the fourth was the trial of duty, for duty always leads to death. We are prepared to render our duty to the undying one, fearless and accepting of our purpose, which is to serve him. You, too, have proven yourself prepared, and the 4 trials have brought you here. Okay, what would have happened if I had never reached the end of the path? Then we would have met at another time, for the tangle of fate's threads cannot be rearranged by one turn, however earnestly one may try to run in the opposite direction. The vizier's sewn-shut eyes seem to peer into your face, studying it. Then he turns away and speaks into empty space again. Peace, my brother. The time has almost come. So this entire conversation is another test, then. A smile graces the vizier's bluish lips. The tenets command us to be prepared for all trials, corporeal and spiritual alike. Sorry, the cadence of the one word bled into the other word for a second there. Are you prepared, Dominsauen? His mouth closes, but you can still hear his whisper. A prickling sensation in your face is making you feel increasingly anxious. You raise a hand to your cheek, only to realize you can't feel it. You look at your palm and see a few smudged drops of blood from the vizier's blade. A strange, serene calm envelops your body. Your fatigue subsides, and you seem to float in the air, seeing things you had not noticed before. The shadows in the corners taking on shape and color, the subdued lumen light playing on the cultists' bone masks. Are they really masks? Their tall, lean, empty-eyed wearers might as well be dead people. A chill runs down your spine. Let's go for the skill check, I guess. I'm gonna whiff one of these eventually. Your heart is beating slowly, your breathing has become deeper, and your thoughts are muddled. You seem to be under the influence of a potent stimulant. You know how stimulants always make your heart beat slowly? Let's look around the temple. One moment, the walls of Death's sanctum grow infinitely wide. The next, they are so narrow as to make it hard to breathe. The floor dances under your feet, and the undying Emperor's statue seems to shake its head threateningly as it looks down upon you. Okay, I mean, it would be funny to accuse him of poisoning me when I am the one who stopped and took a big deep breath of the shit burning in this sensor. I think we'll just skip that. Alright, so what happens now? That is for you to tell me. You look at the vizier, and his trembling frame seems small and insignificant. A single step is all it would take to crush him. But the visions are starting to wear off, and now the old man towers over you. The keen gaze of his sealed eyes is studying your every movement, waiting for a response. Man, I don't know. I don't feel particularly poisoned. I just feel high. Well, I think this is the part where you initiate me as a servant of death? The vizier ponders your words for a long time, whispers something to the empty space behind his shoulder, then shakes his twitching head. Well, our thread is repellent to you, Dominsauen. You proved it by walking the matriarch's path in your own way. It is your right, and we respect your choice. However, only one who accepts the essence of death may become its servant. You accept your own essence, and we dare not burden you with our dogma. Now you dare not burden me with your dogma? I've been down here burdened with your dogma for like 2.5 hours. For years we have maintained fealty to the Domini. We have collected sacred symbols and relics. You are the first in 3 generations of lords and ladies to descend into this sanctum. We are grateful. We are uplifted in spirit. Hear our exultation and accept this gift of a vestment sewn from the bones of his faithful with the threads of death. Yeah, everything's the fucking... everything's the fucking threads of death with you people. That which was foretold has come to pass. The ritual of descent is complete. Now be this temple's guest of honor and rest a while. Okay. I guess I could do that. What did we just get? Spinner's ritual vestments. So this is a light armor, but it has a greater armor value than my current armor. It's got the same, the same dodge and everything. Plus 10% dodge if the wearer is not in cover, with an extra property of bonus wounds equal to your strength. Or, sorry, bonus wounds equal to your strength bonus. Which is, in my case... No, I know what the strength bonus is. I meant what is mine. Everything's got... We all got to be difficult over here. So 3 bonus wounds. I mean, that's a 10% increase in my total health. Would we be better off putting this on Kibella, who's going to be out in front of people more often? Well, she's got her extra dodge and parry, although obviously those are only against melee attacks. I don't know. As my character is turning into kind of like a weird mid-ranger, I wonder if maybe this is... Maybe it does make the most sense for me to wear it. It's an okay look. Gosh, I have a lot of just, like, stuff. And then while we're here, we did actually pick up some stuff that I thought you might like. Although, given her toughness, I almost wonder if maybe we should give this to Abelard. She's going to get a lot of wounds back from it very quickly, but she's already kind of hard to kill in melee, I feel like. And then we did pick up another Spinner's Blade. So I have her right now just using a basic sword in the other hand. Yeah, we definitely should have her dual-wielding Spinner's Blades if we can. And then we picked up something else that was relevant to her, right? Flagship type stuff, mission type stuff. I swear we picked up something else that was like if the wearer is a death cult person. I mean, we already gave her those gloves. Maybe maybe we're done. Maybe we're good. Alright, he says rest a while, but it does kind of seem like there's not anything else to do down here. I may have already done all the interactions that are available.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
So yeah, I guess let's leave. I guess let's get the hell out of here immediately. A spinner, his face covered in carved, bleeding glyphs, makes a respectful gesture of invitation. Let me show you the way, Domin. The way to what? The spinner points his finger upward at the ventilation shaft through which you reached the temple the first time. The path to where the lay people dwell is complex, web-like. You guys think everything is web-like? I would love to meet the spiders that inhabit this ship. Take me to the officer or the enforcer in charge of the freight line hub. I have business with him. One of our quests says we're supposed to go back and talk to him. I do kind of hope that we're like done with the ship at this point. It would first of all, like obviously, even if there's more ship stuff to do, we desperately need something else to break up the monotony. But also, just maybe we're just good on this kind of noise, and we could get into some more like outer space adventure stuff, right? Mr. Frenzo. Captain Frenzo has acquired a few wounds since your last conversations. Half his ear is gone, and you notice that he is wearing bloodied bandages under his uniform. Seeing you, he quickly injects himself with a stimulant and straightens. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? Were you in a shootout? Ah, yes, there's been a raid on a local gang. We finally cleared out the scoundrels who were smuggling goods to neighboring compartments. No one escaped. Frenzo permits himself a brief smile of grim satisfaction. Enforcers have been appropriating ration cards from workers returning from their shifts. Why is that? Are you short on provisions? Well, the compartment has just enough food to avoid starvation, Lord Captain. This is why the enforcers are making sure that no serf has more cards than they're supposed to. They used to rip out people's tongues for it, but I reduced the punishment to simply beating the thieves and confiscating all their cards. The orders are to give these cards to workers who are starving due to a lack of work shifts. Not that it helps them much, but it's better than nothing. Frenzo scoffs. Are there enforcers guilty of misappropriating the confiscated items? Yes. Do those caught stealing receive severe punishment? Absolutely. Uh-huh. Alright, well, I have finished inspecting the bay. The captain raises a wary eyebrow. Will there be any orders based on the inspection's conclusions? I'm very curious to see if we'll have the opportunity to give any orders that are at all in line with my own thinking on this place. The workers are to be provided with everything they need to service the freight line properly. Food and medicine will be delivered, and you are to demote any enforcers found to be abusing their authority to the status of workers. I don't hate this. Obviously, this is not exactly what I think should be done with those enforcers, but this is not terribly out of line. Only harsh measures will bring order to the bay. Establish an execution quota. Strip all corrupt enforcers of their rank and burn away all crime. Any idlers are to be given a job, and if they cannot do anything useful, servitorize them. Organize mandatory sermons and spread the word of faith. So I appreciate that they call the dogmatic one out as insanely evil right away. The execution quota is quite a thing. Heretical smile insinuatingly. The source of all this compartment's woes are hunger and poverty, which are driving these people to commit petty crimes. I am sure you would have done something by now, but there are certain rules you have to follow that are simply too limiting. Isn't that right? It's also interesting that the heretical one doesn't contain anything immediately objectionable. I do feel like food and medicine need to be distributed, and that the workers do need to be provided with everything they need to service the freight line properly. This is kind of tricky because, whatever the heretical one is actually saying or doing, we have to click on it first. We have to choose it to find out where it's going. And that is, again, it would be one thing if this were a conversation with another character. But again, here I'm being asked to press a button to find out what my intent might be, and this is not giving me the opportunity to do a lot of role playing. You really want the player intent to be the thing that pushes the actions, and there's only so much that you can do with that, obviously, in a dead GM medium like a computerized RPG, but it's being done very badly here. I think I'm going to click Iconoclast just because I know what Iconoclast means. And there's a very I don't know how I want to put this. There's a very sort of systems first way of thinking about this, where it kind of doesn't matter what the text is. You're just thinking, well, I'm doing a heretical playthrough, so I'll click the one that says heretical. And I guess if they assume that players are thinking that way, then this isn't a big deal. But I'm not. So I guess I'm going to say Iconoclast. It's interesting that, okay, this one costs stuff. So this will cost a cargo fuel, a full cargo fuel compartment and a full cargo uniform kit compartment. Both of which we have, presumably, or it wouldn't be offering me the thing. I don't have just a button that's hey, what's in the cargo hold at any time, right? I mean, whatever. I'm gonna click on this. The captain needs a moment to handle his confusion. Orders understood. Gain 35 experience. Calamity's promise gained the ability Educated Labor. The flagship's hull integrity has increased by 10. Plating of all sectors on the flagship has increased by 1. Freightline workers study to the best of their ability, applying newly attained knowledge for the betterment of the ship. Thanks to their efforts, the logistical operations with the engineering base have become more efficient, which has opened up new opportunities for fortifying the ship's hull. So yeah, the developers are basically on the side of like the Iconoclast is the more or less good playthrough, which, you know, that's the obvious way to do it, right? Okay. Be steadfast in your new duties, Captain Frenzo. I don't want to hear of any changes down here. Time passed 3 days. Lord Captain, here to report your orders have been carried out. The compartment is already operating according to the new procedure. Okay, cool. I don't need to see it. I just need it to be done. Alright, so I guess at this point we could walk around the compartment and see it in its new state, but I don't know that we need to do that, honestly. In any case, whether or not we want to take a little tour around here and see if there is some kind of, you know, whatever to be gained from that, I think that is where we're going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching and for sort of bearing with me through this very slow period at the beginning of the game. I'm hoping that it's going to get a little sharper, a little faster, maybe a little meaner in the near going, because we are going to get off of this fucking ship. So come back next time for that. We will set foot planetside, and we'll see you then.